Hello and welcome back to Chat the Brain with Dr. Gillane. I'm Dr. Christine Gillane, board certified clinical neuropsychologist. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about psychometry, which is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, but also a wonderful opportunity for psychology majors and folks that are interested in psychology who might not choose to go on to get a master's degree or choose to go on to get a doctorate in clinical psychology, but really want to work with patients and really want to be part of a collaborative care team. So before I jump into what psychometry is, I'll talk a little bit about my experience in working with psychometrists and sort of how my interest came to be. So when I was I guess it was my internship year when I was working at Emory School of Medicine and the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, I was first introduced to psychometrists who were on staff. These individuals worked directly with the patients, administered the psychological and neuropsychological testing that was asked by the neuropsychologist, worked with the patients, took down notes on the behaviors that they observed during testing, the things that they noticed, and we're really part of the collaborative care team model. And these were individuals who taught me some of the first tests that I had not yet been familiar with. They were able to teach me a little bit about how to administer those properly, and really introduce me to some of the tests that I, again, had not yet seen. So psychometrists are an integral part of the neuropsychological model, particularly when it comes to healthcare systems, hospital-based settings, and larger group practices where neuropsychologists might be required to see many patients in a short amount of time. These individuals sort of are the eyes and ears and the folks who are doing the actual testing and providing those test results to the neuropsychologist. So when I transitioned to private practice, I was working in practices that did have psychometrists or psychometry support. And it was wonderful because, again, I got to see a different care model. I got to see a different way of working with these individuals. And I actually ended up training a few of them as they transitioned through the practice. In my own practice, in my own private practice, I have not yet chosen to hire a psychometrist because I really like to do the testing, and I really enjoy the time with the patients themselves to be able to see what's going on in the room and how they are experiencing the testing. So, psychological testing or assessment is sort of the broader term for not only administering the tests but interpreting them. So, psychometrists are doing the testing itself but aren't necessarily doing the interpretation that is left to the neuropsychologist. So as I mentioned, I sort of stumbled into meeting some psychometrists and was tasked with training some psychometrists, and I realized there really isn't a lot of information out there on expectations and standards around training. And so when the pandemic hit, I decided that I would write a training manual for neuropsychologists who are training their psychometrists. It's couched in theory, but it's also practical. What are we doing to train these individuals? What are we doing to maintain minimum standards of competence? Because certainly the data that we gather from these psychometrists is what we base our diagnoses on, etc. And so it is a very key part of the process, and it is a key part that needs to be done with the highest regard for standardization and the highest regard for excellence, really. So I wrote the book, A Neuropsychologist's Guide to Training Psychometrists. I've gotten a lot of feedback. I got feedback from psychometrists that were working in this area, from fellow neuropsychologists, and I am currently working on a program to go ahead and go out and train psychometrists and other professionals who are looking for this type of opportunity. So I'm excited to give you a sense of what psychometry is. That was my goal for this current video. I'll talk a little bit more about the training, etc. in future videos, but if you are a psychology major and you think that going ahead and working with a neuropsychologist to do neuropsychological testing sounds interesting, definitely drop a comment or go ahead and send me an email, dr.gillane@brainhealthneuro.com. I would love to chat with you further about the opportunities. So I hope this information has been helpful, and I wish you well on your journey.